What does it mean to live united? It's not about checking a box on a pledge form. It's not about getting a tax deduction. It's not about being seen. It's about being heard. It's about fighting for a cause.
I fight for the kids others have abandoned.
I fight for working people who can't afford a dentist.
I fight for struggling readers so they will not be left behind.
At United Way, we do more than raise funds. We raise hands. We raise hopes. We raise expectations. We lift up communities together, one person at a time.
That's what it means to live united. Will you?
It felt good to actually talk to somebody because I've been keeping it in. I didn't want people to know my situation. I didn't want them to know that I was out without a job. I was unemployed. I didn't want people to know that. I didn't want people to know that I needed help.
The night when the flood came in that morning, it rolled, it rolled, it rolled. My house was really destroyed badly.
You know, for us, it's just scary. It's scary for somebody to say, here's your child's diagnosis. It scares you when anybody says that there's something wrong with your child.
We found out very quickly how expensive childcare is. You're challenged with, do I work? Do I pay for childcare? What do I do? So I just didn't know how we were going to manage that.
On January the 3rd, 2017, I dropped my daughter off at the nursery as usual. Me and my husband were both employed full-time. We got a call later that day for us to come pick her up, and we took her immediately to the emergency room. Her left arm had been broken by a nursery worker. So that day, I decided to quit my job because I didn't want to put her back in daycare, and I had no other family to watch her at the time. So me and my husband made that decision to quit my job and stay at home with her until my mom could retire later on that year. I hadn't been in the job that long, so I wasn't eligible for FMLA or unemployment benefits. So I pretty much just quit my job with no benefits at all, no unemployment or anything. I worked from the time I was 16. I've never been without a job. And I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but actually being a stay-at-home mom and not being able to provide everything for your child really hurt me a lot. I kind of made it seem like, yeah, we made this decision just for me to quit my job, just to be home with my daughter for a little bit. I didn't want anybody to know the situation, the financial burden that we were in. Around July of that year, I contacted CARE in our area, Kershaw. They're 100% funded by the United Way, and I went and spoke with them about helping me with some bills and helping me get back on my feet to find a job. They said I was eligible for a program called Bounce Back. They set me up with mock interviews. They helped me redo my resume. They helped me look for job fairs. They helped me look for jobs online. They paid my power bill and water bill until I received another job. It was like a release. I just cried. It just felt like, I felt like I let my daughter down in a way. But I knew there was something bigger and better. But I would do anything for my daughter, and that's what I had to do at the moment.
Well, I'll begin like this. My mother, she had this home for about 43 years, I would say. And throughout that home, we raised all my children and all my grandkids, which I have 10 grandkids left that still goes in and out that house every day. And then mother took sick and she suffered a stroke. And she presented the home to me and my family, and I still have the home, and I will keep the home to continue to pass along to my grandkids. And in October 2015, we knew that the storm was coming, but we wasn't afraid because we knew that we could make it. My house was really destroyed badly. But after the storm went through, my husband, he called the St. Bernard Project. And they came out and they worked with us and they offered, to help us, which I never thought was gonna go through, but it did. And they came through and they helped and they set up a plan to rebuild our home. And they did my bathroom, they did the roofing, they did a bedroom. Every day there were so many people, and all of them were the most greatest people that I could ever meet. They came with hugs, they came with laughters, they came with ideas, and they was just wonderful. They were grandmamas, granddaddies, they brought their children. People came as far as Minnesota and worked. We stayed at home during that duration until they came, and then the end of May, they came back and they put us in a hotel, and that's when we joined with the Hearts and Hands. And the Hearts and Hands came in and built the money up for us so that we could live in this hotel, and I just had to buy my food. Family is important, and I train them that, so when they visit, they just came to the hotel, and the people, if they had to spend the night or something with me, the hotel didn't even bother because this was my home away from home. So I always said that after this, I will continue to speak this and let each and every one know that it is real. It is real. And they came in, and I didn't have to do anything but move out, make sure that it was safety for them, that they can get in and out the yard. And to this day, I have a beautiful home inside. There was time, I didn't let people in my house because I had so much that I had to build up that I could never get back up. But as of now, I openly opens my house, and I do invite friends and family in now that I didn't do as much in the past. So I am happy. I'm very fulfilled, very fulfilled.
Levi is our gentle giant. He is very kind and compassionate. He is timid, very thoughtful and careful in what he does. Your typical kid, he just started swim team yesterday, does soccer, plays basketball for our church. You would have literally no idea that he spent a whole year receiving physical therapy. But about 9 months is when we noticed that he would not bear weight on his legs. You would try and stand him up, even prop him up next to a coffee table, and he would curl his legs up and just sit on his bottom. We mentioned it to his pediatrician. She noticed it too, and then at his 12-month checkup, she did diagnose him with hypotonia, which is just really low muscle tone. We thought he was just kind of a lazy baby, but no, he actually was missing significant muscle tone in his legs and his chest and his arms. And so at that point, we were referred over to Kinetics, which is a part of the Center for Developmental Services, for early intervention. For us, we were first-time parents, and I always do this. And somebody had just told you something was wrong with your child. I worked in the insurance field. I was a healthcare consultant, so clearly we had good insurance and I knew how to use it, but at the same time, we still needed additional help. And that's where the Center for Developmental Services really came in not just with his weekly physical therapy, but providing AJ and I the resources that we needed to be taking home with him to help him get back to where he should be with his peers and get him back on a level playing field. It was super fast. He was crawling within, I want to say, 6 weeks, and was full-blown walking within 4 months. So they had him up and running, but still noticed some delays, and a lot of it mainly in his balance. And so they continued the weekly therapy for a full year until he was finally discharged. But yeah, it was I want to say 6 weeks that he was crawling and 4 months that he was walking. So I was already involved in the United Way. For us, it was just the perfect example of, life coming full circle for you. And for us, it's just so neat that we were involved at a pretty high level, both philanthropically and financially, and then to become a family actually impacted by that was very significant and special for our family.
So when I was in Florence, South Carolina, I had 2 children. They were school-aged kids, and we had Mom in Florence, who was our child care provider. She took care of everything for us. But when we moved to Columbia, this is a grown-up time now. We had our own house, our own everything. So now we have to find child care. But as soon as I hit the grounds here in Columbia, we found out we were pregnant again. So we're now on child 3. And we found out very quickly how expensive child care is. So child care, we found out, was about $85 a week at the time. And it was a challenge, but now we have 2 school-age children. We're just about to reach the summer, and now they're out for summer. And I'm starting a new job, and I am excited about it, but how do I, manage with these 2 children and a child in daycare? I found out that camp was $100 a week for each child. So now we're about to come to a new expense of about $285 a week for childcare. You're challenged with, do I work? Do I pay for childcare? What do I do? So I just didn't know how we were going to manage that. And this is during the time where I met a young lady who had 5 children. And all of her kids were going to camp. And I'm like, how are you doing this? How are you sending your kids to camp? And I know your situation. And that's when she told me about Boys and Girls Club. And they had a grant they had funds from United Way, which allowed the children to go to camp $5 a week. My kids couldn't go to camp, in a safe environment. They had a wonderful time that year. They gained social skills. Obviously, it was a new town. They didn't know anybody, so it was a great way for them to become recreational experiences, academics, because Boys and Girls Club, they did a lot. And so, having that opportunity, that one opportunity that, United Way provided, Boys and Girls Club, and even, givers like those who give to the United Way campaign, it made it possible for me to stay at work. I didn't have to leave my job. People didn't know I was going to work, BlueCross, BlueShield, sitting next to somebody who was giving toward the campaign. They had no idea they were helping me, but it's an awesome revelation.
Even as long as I've been working here, I always gave to the United Way, but I did grumble. They ain't gonna do nothing. How people think. But that is not true. And after we got our house going through, we introduced the St. Bernard to my neighbors. And not only did they fix my house up, they went up and down the street and fixed up my neighbor's house. So I was able to help by mouth get them through that program also.
I just thought it was people that didn't want to work. Honestly, that were lazy, didn't want to get a job, and used the system. And I was totally wrong, because I was one of those people, and I wanted to work, and it was just, I was hit with a bad situation, and that's not the case for everybody. You know, there's people out there that want to work that just need help to get back on their feet.
You make one call to United Way, they're going to put you in touch with any partner agency they feel like can help. So you could easily just place a call, and they're going to know who to get you in touch with, and get that process started for you.
And I believe that, you know, it can help everyday people you don't realize actually needs help. And you had no idea, you know, that the monies that you're donating is spreading across the city.
And I like to say to the United Way and the St. Bernard clubs and the Hearts and Hand, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know where I would be. And I'm glad to sit here today and to say that thanks one more time. And I'll send out all my love for my husband and my grandchildren. Thank you again.